Thank you for joining me on my next video. In this video, I'm just going to show you what I've done with the Oatey Quadtro washing machine outlet box. I purchased this particular model because it has push type connections, supports either copper, PEX, or CPVC. In my case, I'm using PEX. So what I've done here is I've mounted the box. Comes with these 4 plastic brackets. I leveled it. And what I like about it is got the valves, includes the valves, which are push connection as I mentioned. And basically you can just push either your copper or your PEX or the other type of tubing I mentioned into the connector. It goes in about, I'd say about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches maybe, and makes a nice tight secure connection. If you need to remove it, there's this handy tool that comes with it. Pretty much just place the tool on the pipe, press up, and pull the pipe down at the same time. I'm not going to demonstrate that because the water's on, and if I do that, the water's going to go flying all over the place. So I've had this, connected this yesterday, so it's been about a day. I'm not going to close up the drywall until I actually let it stay for a couple of days, make sure there's no leaks. And what I did here actually is I transitioned from copper. The whole house has copper. So what I'm doing now, any type of rework I do, I use PEX. It's just easier than trying to sweat joints. And it's a lot easier to run PEX through studs without having to make any type of connections, as you can see. I'll show you what an elbow looks like for connecting PEX. There's different types. You can either use plastic, which a lot of people do because it's cheaper, or you can use these brass type of fittings. These are brass, they cost a little bit more. This particular product I'm using is from Shark Bites. I'm not promoting them, I'm just telling you what I used. And also another product I use from Shark Bite is basically this transition piece here. So it's a female brass transition piece, and what you do is you sweat that onto your copper pipe like I did here, and once that's sweated on the other end, you can just put your PEX pipe with your ring and crimp that on. Just want to mention the tools that I use for the PEX, just in case people were wondering. I'm not promoting any particular brand or any particular store, but this is what I purchased. It was a combo set, which basically includes the crimper, which supports both 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch PEX pipe. The top is obviously the 1/2 inch, 3/4 inches in the middle there. It's a pretty big tool, so when you're crimping, you just got to make sure that you're crimping in a position that you can actually get the tool in, because it does have to open up quite wide. As you can see, it's opened up quite wide, so make sure you have room to do that when you're working with PEX. The other tool it came with was the cutter, and this definitely helps making cutting your PEX pipe a lot easier. You basically lay your PEX on here, and you just squeeze, and it'll cut the PEX pipe really easily. The other thing it comes with is this little nifty tool. Basically allows you to check your connection to make sure that you've squeezed it enough. So once you've squeezed your connection, you kind of just place it on there, and I'm not sure if you can see that little gap. If it see those 2 lines line up on the side, on the right and left side, if they line up like that, 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and then you pretty much did a good job. If it didn't go through and you're sitting up high, then you did not squeeze the connector enough. I will say that I did have an issue with this side. I know when I squeezed it, I felt something funny. Didn't think anything of it, but I think maybe I was too close to the copper here, and I don't think I got a good squeeze on the ring. So when I turned the water on, water was leaking here, and I'll be honest with you, I did not use my gauge to test to make sure it was okay. So it did leak, so what I ended up doing, I don't have the tool to remove these, so what I ended up doing is just using a Dremel and just being very careful. I cut the copper ring without damaging this part of the copper, And once I cut the copper ring, I was able to separate it, pull out my PEX. You recut the PEX, make sure it was straight, put a new ring on, and then make sure I crimped it properly this time. So as you can see, there's no leaks. I want to show you the finished product of the drain. So I ended up with a 2-inch drain here because that's what I had before, and I didn't want to go with 1.5-inch just in case there'd be a backup from the washing machine. And everywhere I read, they're saying code and what have you in different various areas is 2-inch. So I'm just playing it safe. I'm using a 2-inch, and basically all the way down across my studs, and I come right back out. Made sure I had half decent slope. As you can see, there's a great slope there. I've had it connected for a few days now, so I haven't had any leaks. The valves themselves are good. There's no water there. There's no leaks where the compression fittings are. There's no leaks here at the elbows. As you can tell, I use all brass fittings. I don't like to use plastic for my PEX. I know a lot of people use plastic because it's cheaper, but this is my own house, and I'm not going to compromise for a few bucks and take a risk of some issue with plastic fittings. I'm sure they're fine, but just me being careful. So this is the finished product. Just want to mention that it does come with a cover. So once you got the drywall back, you can just put this cover on, and it'll just mount nicely. I know it's kind of hard to do with one hand here, but there you go. And that's what it'll look like when it's when the cover's on. Nice clean look. So this is the finished look after installing the Oatey rough-in for the washing machine. As you can see, it's a nice clean look. All the plumbing's concealed behind the wall. Nothing there. And I just want to show you underneath the holes that are in the cabinet. That was for the way I had previously run the plumbing, the cold and hot water on the top there where the 2 holes are, followed by the drain on the bottom. So that basically ran through my entire cabinets in the back and then came out a hole on this side. So as you can see, this is a cleaner look, and that's it. So if you're considering doing something like this, at least you get to see what it's all about. So thanks for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.